Last week I started a project making a box with a lid. In the first part I made the box, and in this final part I'll line the bottom of the box with felt, make the lid, and finally make a little base or plinth to visually balance the lid. As I said, we left off last week having finished the box. The inside certainly doesn't look finished without a lining in the base. Let's assume I'm going to put an object, maybe something made of glass, in the box, in which case I want a soft lining. I'm going to use a piece of felt mainly because I have it. It would be difficult to glue the floppy piece of felt in directly, so I'll first glue it to a piece of card that fits nicely into the base. Cutting the felt is the perfect time to use the ultra-sharp Alpha blades. You might notice me swapping knives when cutting paper and fabric. The ultra-sharp blades are black because they have a coating which makes them slide in the kerf better. Because they're very thin, they also cut a very narrow kerf. It is because they're so narrow that they aren't perfect for cutting board, as they do tend to flex. Instead of felt, you can make a cushion. Use a slightly more rigid cardstock and put a thin layer of batting over it. Then stretch a material over it and drum it on by attaching at the back. Double-sided tape makes this easier. I like using silk as the covering material. The inside dimensions of the lid needs to fit over the box. I'm going for a tight fit and will add 1mm or slightly less to the maximum outside dimension of the box at the top. For a looser fit, you might want to round up and then add a millimetre. It also depends on the covering material. I'm using thin paper. If I was covering in cloth, I would add 2 thicknesses of the cloth to the dimensions. Fans of bloopers will like how I measured 156 but cut to 151mm. This is another argument for taking measurements directly from the object, but it's just a small piece of board and I'll have a new piece cut in no time. I'm making the walls of the lid 20mm high. You could use less, but I think 20mm looks good. I'll make the lid the same as the box. Once it's dried for 5 minutes, I'll check it fits the box. I'll cover and line the lid the same way I did in the video for making the gold leaf protector. Once the covering material is glued to the sides, turning in is the same as the box. You can see the disadvantage of this technique for patterned paper, with the marbling going up on one side, down on the other, and sideways at the ends. But as the lid is only 20mm deep, it's not very noticeable. Let's say we want to put this box on display. I thought it'd be nice to have a base to visually balance the thickness of the lid. I cut a piece of the same board to the outside dimensions of the lid and covered it just like the boards of a book with mitered corners. Then I put a piece of felt under the base to hide the turn ends and to make it sit nicely. This time I cut the board a few millimeters narrower, and when I trimmed the felt I left a narrow overhang. This way the felt will hide the thin piece of card. That's today's video done. It's fairly straightforward, but I think it produces a nice little box. Making boxes and enclosures is part of bookbinding, and I find it very satisfying since you can produce something very nice in not much time at all. I hope you've enjoyed today's video. As always, I really appreciate you hitting the big thumbs up button. If you're able and want to, you can support the making of more videos like this through Patreon or with a one-off contribution, and the details are in the description below. To find videos I've made on specific topics or other projects, the best place to go is the Daz Bookbinding video guide. It's the index to the channel, and there's a link in the description below. If you want to be notified of my future videos, please hit the subscribe button and select the notification bell. Until next time, cheerio!